some of the social problems that we have in this country. And I think that Limpopo can play a critical role in enabling such growth. So we would certainly encourage businesses both in Limpopo but also outside to invest. I believe that business organizations and others from a number of parts in the world have joined into this investment conference, and we would encourage businesses and governments in other parts of the world to invest in Limpopo. We feel confident in asking for that because in the last year or so, BUSA has worked with government, with the South African government, in partnership with the government to make significant interventions in areas of energy, of logistics and law and order, and we made progress in that. You will have noticed that we haven't had load shedding for quite some time, since I think March 2024 or so. We're making progress on our logistics sector and beginning to enable more private sector participation in that. And we are dealing with some of the issues related to crime. We believe that this partnership, also the new administration, the Government of National Unity, is holding together, is working very well, and has sent out a positive message to investors. I think I always note when I talk to people that in some parts of Europe, when you have a split vote like the one we had in our last elections, it's taken a year or year and a half for the country to actually form a government. We formed a Government of National Unity in 2 weeks, and that government is holding, that administration is holding, and we believe that that begins to create a political environment for investment. So we would encourage such investment on the basis of the success of the partnership business has with government. We would also encourage partnerships in the province between business and government in particular, but also with other sectors of civil society. But the bilateral partnership between business and government at national level is working. We are seeing positive results, and that's because on government side, President Ramaphosa has led, and we meet with President Ramaphosa and government every 6 to 8 weeks to track progress. We would encourage a similar partnership in the province between the provincial leadership in government at the highest level and business leaders in the province, and to identify critical areas of intervention, to have very, very clear deliverables, very clear time frames, and then to deliver on those and track those. So we wish this conference all the best. We wish you all the success that the province needs. We encourage international players to come and invest in the province, and we encourage business and government in the province to, at the highest levels of both, form a partnership to identify critical areas of intervention and begin to actually.
Thank you very much, Cass. And this one is not virtually joining us. He's joining us in person, the Chief Executive Officer of the Black Business Council, Mr. Khanki Matabane. Hlaviro.
Thank you very much, Program Director, my big brother. Good morning, everyone. It's very difficult to speak after the premier, and maybe because he's my favorite premier, so I'm biased. But I think I like her mainly because she's action orientated. I agree with you, Premier, and Dr. Posa, that we've been having a lot of speeches since 1994. And someone even said, if South Africa was entering into Olympics of speeches, I'm sure we'll have won the Olympics by now. Premier, Ramathuba, the host MEC. I've been practicing his name when I was driving here, MEC Chitereke Matibe. All protocol observed. Thank you very much for inviting the Black Business Council to be part of this important conference. And it's very, very important, and also is appropriately themed inclusive economic growth. And that is very, very important because inclusive growth should not just be reduced to a slogan. It must be reduced to actions. It must be seen. When you drive to the rural areas, you must see inclusive growth. You don't have only to see inclusive growth when you're driving in Sandton. And it's because we do have a crisis, Premier, you'll know. We've got a crisis of unemployment. When you look at the expanded unemployment rate of Limpopo, is 47.8. And I believe that is the real measure of unemployment. But that tells you that almost out of every 100 people who are supposed to be working, half of them are not working. And hence this conference is very, very important because in our view, this conference is seeking to address that. You need to address the unemployment rate because we are sitting on a time bomb. We don't want what happened in Bangladesh to happen to South Africa. Hence, we're encouraged by the theme, and we hope that inclusive growth will become a reality. And we believe, Premier, that the problems of the province can only be solved by less talk and more action. And we're confident that, Premier, from what we have witnessed and what we have seen so far, I think we've got more than 100 days where we have seen action. And for us, that is encouraging because slogans don't resolve problems, but only actions. And we were also encouraged by the MECs and the energy that some of the MECs that we have witnessed have displayed. You've mentioned the Khwere Wednesday. We think it's a good program. It needs to be accelerated. But that also puts pressure on MEC Matibe. I think, and I'm sorry to put you on the spot, MEC, what stops Limpopo during this 7th administration to start what we've been talking about for, I think, since 1994, minerals beneficiation? Maybe you can start a campaign on minerals beneficiation. And if you start that now, even if by the end of the 7th administration you only did like 1 or 2%, that will be a legacy for the 7th administration. Because until and unless we start something, nothing else is likely to happen. So I'm sorry for increasing your KPIs. Premier, I hope you'll put it as a KPI, so that by the time of the term ends, we can say to the world and South Africa to say, this is what we have achieved and this is what we have done. And it's very, very important, I think, Premier, to take advantage of the good and positive mood that has been created by the government of national unity. It's not going to last forever, as you know. Those who are married will know that honeymoon doesn't last forever. But let's make use of the honeymoon while we're still in that honeymoon phase. The investors and the investment world has been very, very positive. So let's take advantage of that to create something. Premier Ramathuba, we wish you and the participants in this conference a great success as you mobilize the investment that must come to our province of Limpopo. The growth of Limpopo is a growth of South Africa. Thank you. Oh, it's there. No, we need
Nabi,
to
bro.
monitor it.
No, you can't increase KPIs here, man. You can't increase KPIs here. They are mountain high, I tell you. They are mountain high. By the way, Premier, that story about if men were to give birth, no, you have no idea what would have happened. I'm telling you, pregnancy would have been killed completely. We would have manufactured incubators. What, do you think a man is going to wait at home and not go to the bar because he's pregnant? No chance. I'm telling you, pregnancy would be history. It would be an arrangement in vitro. Come on now, you work it out, you sit in there. We choose the pigmentation of the child and we move on, right? Thank you. So maybe that's what's holding back industrialization. We should get more women as premiers, then we can get the men to really be creative about that. But what is not in dispute, Premier, is that companies that are run by women outperform those that are run by men on sales growth, on profitability, and on compound growth. You can look up the research. There's so much of it. Big investors in the world know if they have a choice, they will pick a company run by a woman. And I'm sure investors here will know if they had a choice, they would pick a province run by a woman. Right? That's the no-brainer, right? Especially if you look at that cabinet and you look at these mayors here, you get the picture. But on a serious note, Premier, I've seen countries of the world, countries on the continent, and I know the difference a leader can make. I know the difference political will can bring to growth. Investors don't care about your laws and royalties and how much you charge them. They just want to know you will say something and honor your word. That's all they want to know. If you say, I want to charge you 60% royalties for every mine, some will walk away, others will come. But they just want to know you have a policy and you stick to it. If you want to see a country that has been not so strong on policy, and as a result it gets overtaken by others, look at Zambia. For the past 15 years, they have gone back and forth on their mining royalties. And they got overtaken by DRC on copper production. That is a scandal for the Zambians. But unless you have a policy certainty, you are not going to get the people coming. But what I'm asking is people who are invested in Limpopo, please help this provincial administration. Help it. Do not stand back and shout. Don't stand back and criticize. Go to the provincial administration and get involved. I know because at the university we do that. We ballroom dance with a whole lot of these MECs and the mayors. But I tell you, I've never had a door shut in my face. Whenever I try to discuss anything, these MECs, most of them, I have their numbers. They answer calls. The mayors answer their calls. So try while the atmosphere is still there. Because Mataban is right. This honeymoon won't last forever. All right. I don't want to say much more. I know my country, all right? I know it. But this honeymoon won't last forever. And if there's ever a best time to invest in this province, it's now. And if there's a time to take a tea break, it's yesterday. So we are done with this section, Premier. And thank you very much, everybody, for the messages of support. We are going to move. Thank you. Yes, you may applaud. We are going to move into the second section after tea, but now you're going to see the nasty side of a program director. The real nasty side. The one who stands here while you're speaking. And because this microphone is removable, the one who will remove the microphone while you're speaking if you go over the limit. The only people who were exempted were the premiers and the MECs. Everybody else, you're going to have to give me a discount after. And that is everybody. So if you have 10 minutes, I'm sorry, it's 50% off today. If you have more than 10 minutes, it's 75% off. Because I know that come 1600 hours, we will all be tired, and it's not fair for people who are scheduled to speak in the afternoon to have to not have an audience. So we're going to take a tea break. Again, it's 50% off. It will be 15 minutes. Well, it will be 5 minutes, but I know it's not realistic. Where is Sharon? Or people who can help us? The tea is in the exhibition hall, and while you're there, please check out some of the exhibitors, but not this time around, because we need to get on with the program. We have 2 panel discussions, I think, before lunchtime. So help me to take this program to conclusion by 1600 hours. Thank you very much. I see you in 15 minutes. Okay, hold on. Time out. Could we allow the Premier first to leave, and then we will be able to follow suit. Thank you very much, Premier, and I'm sure the executive mayors could follow the front row, and then everybody else can join. We, the grassroots, are going to catch up very quickly, don't worry. Okay, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. See you in 15 minutes.